Hey guys, so today I'm here with my June wrap-up. I read 10 books in the month of June, which makes me really happy, so let's go ahead and get started with the wrap-up. The first book I read in June was Something Real by Heather Demetrios. This book follows a girl named Bonnie who, her family is a reality TV family. They have like 13 kids and they were a part of this reality TV show, and then they went off the air for a while, and Bonnie's has been trying to kind of blend in with normal people and live a normal life, but then one day her mother decides to put them back on the air and she's having to deal with all that. This book was pretty good. I enjoyed it because I enjoy watching reality TV and that kind of stuff. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Summer of Sloane by Erin L. Schneider. This is about a girl named Sloane whose boyfriend cheats on her, and right before she's going on her annual trip to go visit her mom in Hawaii, and she punches him in the face and breaks her wrist, which you can see on the thing, and she's having to deal with that whole thing and her ex-boyfriend trying to text her and talk to her, and she doesn't want to talk to him, obviously. And she meets a guy named Finn, and stuff happens, and it was a really cute book. I'd say it's a perfect summery read if you're looking for something like that. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read The Distance from Me to You by Marina Gessner. This is about a girl named McKenna who decides to hike the Appalachian Trail with her friend, and at the last minute, her friend backs out on her, and so she doesn't want to cancel the trip, so she decides to hike it alone without her parents knowing. And along the way, she meets a guy named Sam, and he kind of becomes her companion through the whole trip. And this book was really good. I enjoyed the wilderness aspect of it and seeing the Appalachian Trail, because that's always been interesting to me, and what they have to go through to hike it. The only thing is I was not a fan of the romance at all. I felt it happened too quickly, and I didn't like it at all. But other than that, it was a really good book, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read The Siren by Kiera Cass. Kiera Cass wrote the Selection series, which is one of my favorite series ever. This is about a siren named Kaylin. And sirens are not allowed to talk to humans because their voice kills them, obviously. But she's just trying to kind of live a normal life at a university, and she meets a guy, and she starts to fall for him, but that's obviously not good because she can't speak to him and she's a siren. I enjoyed this book. I didn't love it as much as her other books at all. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. I just found that it was kind of boring at times. I liked the siren aspect of it, and I thought it was kind of cool, but it was just kind of boring, and it wasn't my favorite. But I still enjoyed it, and if you're a fan of Kiera Cass, I think you'd probably enjoy it too. Next, I wanted something that was kind of light and fun because I was kind of feeling a little bit slumpy, so I picked up, I don't know if you can see it, On the Fence by Casey West. Casey West writes really cutesy contemporaries. It's about a girl named Charlie, I think is her name. I can't remember, don't quote me on that. And she has 3 brothers, and her mom had passed away when she was young, and so she's never really grown up with a female in her life. She always likes to hang out with her brothers and their friend, Brayden, who is their next door neighbor. And one summer, she gets a speeding ticket, and her dad makes her take a job to pay it off, and she gets this job at this boutique store, which is obviously not what she's used to at all, because she's not a girly girl at all. And Brayden, the next door neighbor, she kind of starts to fall for him, and they talk across the fence, thus On the Fence. And it was just a cutesy contemporary. It was exactly what I was looking for. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Princess Mia by Meg Cabot. This is the 9th book in the Princess Diaries series. I can't believe this series is almost over. I only have 2 books left, and it makes me kind of sad. But this was a really good installment. I liked it a lot more than the last one. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I picked up My Lady Jane by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. And this was my uppercase box. It's also the Owl Crate box of the month. I'm sure you've seen it around. Basically, it's a retelling of the story of Lady Jane Grey, who was Queen of England for 9 days before she got her head chopped off. But in this book, completely rewrite history to give her a happy ending, and instead of the religious kind of politics that were going on at the time, it's between these shape-shifting creatures and the people who don't like the shape-shifting creatures. So it was a funny twist on that. This book was just really, really funny. It was kind of it was written very, satirically, and I liked that about it. If you're a fan of like The Princess Bride and that kind of thing, I think you'd really like this book. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Wanderlost by Jen Malone. This is about a girl named Audrey whose older sister gets in trouble with the law, and her older sister was supposed to lead this bus trip for senior citizens around Europe, but obviously she can't go anymore, so she asks Aubrey if she would go for her. She gets to Europe, she realizes that she lost her binder, which has all like the tour instructions of all the places she's going, and obviously that's not good. So she goes with the tour anyway, and she meets a guy named Sam. I really, really liked this book. I loved the setting in Europe. Actually, it was funny because I'm reading it and I'm like, did Jen Malone like write this about me? Because Aubrey's from Ohio. I'm from Ohio. They go to all these places that I had been to in Europe, like Vienna and Salzburg and Prague, and I loved seeing that in a book because I've never seen those cities in a book. Well, I guess Prague is in Daughter of Smoke and Bone, but I didn't finish that book, so I don't know. But yeah, other than that, I've never read anything set in those cities before. Also, 2 of the senior citizens on the trip, they're like best friends, and their names are Mary and Emma. And if you don't know, my name is Mary Emma, so I was like, what the heck, Jen Malone? I think she must have found me and she wrote this book all about me or something. Anyway, I really, really liked this book. I rate a 4.5 out of 5 stars. The only reason I docked a half star is because I always hate stories where, like, because she meets Sam and she obviously can't tell Sam who she really is, and I always hate these stories where she, like, lies to him the entire book, and then at the end he gets mad at her, and it's like, oh no, I'm gonna lose him forever, and then he comes back and he forgives her just like that, and I'm like, no, that's not how it works in real life, and I get irritated by that trope, but other than that, this book was really, really good, and I would definitely recommend it. And then I read Finding Audrey by Sophie Kinsella. This is about a girl named Audrey who has social anxiety. You don't really find out why. She had some traumatic episode, but you never find out why, which kind of bugged me a little bit, honestly. But she meets this guy named Linus, who is one of her brother's gaming partners. They do gaming together. And it was really good. It was really funny because her mom is like kind of crazy, and there's like a whole subplot with her brother and her mom getting mad at her brother for playing video games too much. I really enjoyed this. This is my first Sophie Kinsella book, and I think I'll probably be reading more of her books in the future. I gave this book a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Breakaway by Cat Spears. This is about a guy named Jason whose younger sister passes away, and he's having to deal with all that, plus his like friend group is kind of slowly drifting apart from each other. And he meets a girl named Rain too, who she's really rich and he's really poor, and she's kind of not someone who he would ever have been friends with. Stuff happens from there. It was a really good book. I really liked this book, and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So that's all the books I read in June. What did you read in June? Let me know in the comments down below, and I will see you again next time. Goodbye!